Rain fell softly through the dense green canopy, each droplet tapping on the roof of leaves before sliding down to the forest floor. The air was thick with mist, heavy with the smell of soil, wood, and life. The daylight was dim and silvery, not quite dark, not quite bright, the kind of light that made the rainforest feel endless. Inside a small shelter built from palm trunks and vines, Ethan Cole sat by a fading fire, its smoke curling lazily through gaps in the wall. He had been alone in this part of the Amazon for more than a month, a man living with the silence, learning the rhythm of the wild. The rain didn't bother him anymore. It was part of the breathing of the jungle. He leaned back, listening to the distant hum of insects, the patter of drops, the slow pulse of nature that surrounded him. And then, knock, knock, knock. A sudden, frantic pounding broke the calm. Ethan froze. 3 sharp blows against the door, followed by a pause, and then another burst, uneven, desperate. He stood up slowly, his instincts sharpened by weeks of solitude. Few things in the jungle knocked politely. The sound came again, this time weaker, but closer to crying than to striking. He approached the door, one hand on his knife, the other on the latch. A breath of humid air slipped through the cracks, carrying with it the scent of wet fur. Ethan pushed the door open, and there it was, a baby gorilla, drenched from head to toe, standing in the rain. Its tiny chest heaved with fear, its fists still pressed against the wood, eyes wide and glistening. Water streamed from its fur, pooling around its feet. The creature looked up at him, and in those dark, liquid eyes was something unmistakably human,
I won't hurt you.
pleading, "Hey, hey, easy now," Ethan murmured, dropping to one knee. His voice was soft but steady, the kind you use when talking to something fragile. But the gorilla didn't relax. It reached out, grabbed his wrist, and tugged with surprising strength. Then it pointed into the forest, beyond the clearing, into the wall of green and mist. The meaning was clear. It wanted him to follow. Ethan hesitated. Training told him not to interfere. He was a researcher, an observer, not a rescuer. But that look in the animal's eyes, it wasn't instinct. It was pain, a cry for help. "Okay," he said softly, as if talking to himself. "Show me." He slung his pack over his shoulder, checked his knife, and stepped out into the rain. The forest swallowed them whole. Every step sank into mud. Water streamed down tree trunks, and vines hung like serpents from above. The air buzzed with life. Mosquitoes, frogs, unseen wings. The rain was heavier now, beating against his shoulders, soaking through his shirt until it clung to his skin. The little gorilla moved fast, turning often to make sure he was following. Ethan kept his distance, but the urgency in its movements pushed him on. Then, without warning, the jungle went silent. No birds, no insects. Even the rain seemed to muffle itself. Ethan stopped. The baby froze too. From the mist ahead came a low rumble, deep, resonant, ancient. And then, from the shadows, emerged the silverback, the alpha male, massive, muscles like stone beneath glistening fur. He rose to his full height, chest broad and gleaming, eyes burning like amber through the veil of rain. Ethan's breath caught in his throat. He'd seen them from afar before, but never this close, and never when one was angry. The silverback pounded its chest once, a sound like thunder echoing through the trees. Ethan didn't move. He knew that to run meant death. The baby darted forward, chattering frantically, grabbing at the giant's arm, then pointing toward Ethan. The great ape looked down at its child, then back at the human. The air between them felt thick, as if the forest itself was waiting for a decision. Then, slowly, the silverback turned away and began walking deeper into the jungle. The baby glanced back at Ethan, its eyes pleading again. Follow. They reached a narrow ravine. The ground was torn and muddy from a fresh landslide. Rocks, roots, and broken branches lay scattered everywhere. And there, beneath a massive boulder, lay a female gorilla, her arm pinned, her breathing shallow and ragged. The baby rushed to her side, crying out in short, broken sounds, touching her face, pressing its small head against her chest. Ethan dropped to his knees beside her. He could see pain in every muscle of her body. The stone was heavy, far too heavy for him alone. He searched the ground, found a thick branch, jammed it beneath the edge of the boulder, and pushed with all his strength. Nothing. He tried again, mud slipping beneath his boots, arms trembling. Still nothing. And then, from behind him, came a heavy step. The silverback approached. It crouched beside him, its breath deep and steady. It placed one giant hand on the same branch. Ethan met its eyes. No words, no fear, only understanding. Together, they pushed. Wood cracked, mud shifted. The boulder began to move slowly at first, then with a shuddering roll. When it finally gave way, the sound echoed like a sigh through the forest. The mother gasped, freeing her arm, and the baby clung to her instantly, burying its face in her fur. Ethan collapsed backward into the mud, breathing hard, rain washing the grime from his arms. He looked up. The silverback stood over him, motionless, rainwater streaming down its body. Their eyes met again. This time, there was no threat, only gratitude, deep, quiet, wordless. The silverback stepped closer, close enough that Ethan could see the scars across its chest, the streaks of grey around its muzzle, and the weight of years in its eyes. It bowed its head once, a gesture that needed no translation, then turned and vanished into the rain. Ethan stayed there for a long time, listening to the breathing of the rescued mother, to the soft whimpers of the baby, to the steady rhythm of rain against leaves. He didn't feel like a savior. He felt human again. When he finally returned to his shelter, the storm had faded to a drizzle. Light broke through the clouds, pale, golden, trembling. On the wooden door of his hut, tiny wet handprints remained, slowly drying in the humid air. He touched them gently, smiled, and whispered to no one, "I hope you're safe out there." The jungle didn't answer, but somewhere far away, he thought he heard the soft echo of a chest beating once. A sound of life, of gratitude carried on the rain. In that moment, Ethan understood. The wild wasn't just a place to survive. It was a place to remember that mercy and courage still lived, even where words did not.